Hey boys and girls, so we're going to go ahead and get started on the next part of our lily pad. Now this project takes a couple of steps, unfortunately, but that's okay because it turns out really, really beautiful. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the lily pad. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to use tissue paper. If you don't have tissue paper, you could use the green and the yellow from your watercolors, or you could even use markers or crayons. So don't think you have to do exactly what I'm doing. We can be a little bit flexible with that. We can use something else if we have to. But I'm going to show you first how to draw your lily pad. Now, drawing a lily pad is pretty simple. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start off with a pencil. And on my paper, I'm going to make a big oval. And I'm going to do this with a pencil first in case I don't really like it. Then I can always erase. Now, if I'm pretty happy with my oval, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to draw the letter V on its side. And this is going to be that little notch in the lily pad. Now, I'm going to outline it with a black marker so I can see it a little bit easier through my tissue paper. And it will definitely help when I'm laying down the pieces of tissue paper. Now, remember what I said. If you don't have tissue paper, go ahead and use your watercolor tray, or you could use markers or crayons, anything you have laying around to add color. So don't feel like you have to use exactly what I am. So the next part, you're going to need some green tissue paper, and I've already torn mine up. So if you want to pause the video and start tearing up some tissue paper, go right ahead. If not, you can keep watching. I'm also going to need a little dish with a tiny bit of water. I don't need a whole lot of water for this, boys and girls, and I can't stress that enough. Little bit of water and some glue. We're going to do what I have told so many people never to do, which is to open the entire glue bottle. Are you ready? I'm ready. So I'm going to open up the whole glue bottle, and I'm going to pour a tiny bit of glue into my water to make a glue and water mixture for this. All right, now remember, don't pour out too much. We don't want to waste glue. But I'm going to go ahead, tighten my glue bottle back up, and I'm going to use my paintbrush. And make sure you clean your paintbrush after this really well with some soap so it doesn't get crusty. And I'm going to mix up that mixture really, really, really well so it's nice and even. All right, so now I'm going to start taking my green pieces of tissue paper and laying them down. And I was pretty lucky. I actually found a few different shades of green laying in my box full of gift wrapping stuff because I always save the tissue paper. Now you see some of mine are hanging off the edge. That is fine. And sometimes it helps boys and girls to put a little bit of that glue and water down first and then put the tissue paper and then go over it again. And I'm going to pick up some different shades of green and I can layer them on top of each other to make really pretty variation of green. And not only that, it makes a beautiful texture to a wonderful lily pad. You can use some bigger pieces or some smaller pieces. It's really up to you. And I have to cover up the whole thing. Now remember, it's okay that they're hanging off the edge of the outline because what's going to happen is this is going to dry and then we're going to cut it out to put on our water, which by the way, your water should be drying and soon you'll see the little crystals of salt taking effect to your watercolor. Who knew you could do that with salt? All right. All right. And remember, you can tear these up into bigger strips, smaller pieces, little squares, completely up to you how you do them. And I always like to put some darker ones here and there if you've got them. Oops, I forgot to add the water and glue mixture. There we go. Lay that down and put that on top. And sometimes, if you're using different colors of green, you could even put a little bit of light green on top, and it helps add beautiful color. Now, if you're doing this with your watercolor paints, you can actually mix a little bit of yellow, not a whole lot, but a little bit of yellow into your green to get some light green. And you can also mix a little bit of blue into your green to get a really pretty dark blue if you're doing this with your watercolor paints instead of the tissue paper. I'm going to use the dark green for this last part. Now remember, it's okay if it hangs off the edge of the outline. And also, boys and girls, it helps to keep your water and glue mixture stirred every now and then. You got to go back and stir it up a little bit because sometimes the glue will separate. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay that all down. I'm actually going to put a big stripe of light green here. Get a nice pretty little mix of light and dark green. Cover up that little bit of white that was showing. And then I just have this little small area right here. And then I'm going to go right on top. Now, there we go. So now the next step is to wait for this to dry. So what I'm going to do is I will see you all in a few minutes when everything is nice and dry. Make sure it's really, really dry because we don't want to be cutting through paper when it's wet. All right, boys and girls, I'll see you in a minute.